Ifascope, John Nymark, the founder of the IFA Foundation International, and I'd like to welcome you to one more iteration of our weekly Ifascope. Certainly we're all thinking about and faced with the atrocities going on in Paris and those that threaten us and other people in the world. And it is a real question. It is a real problem. It is a real pending calamity. But let me simply say this, that for those of you, this is not a tease, it's simply the facts. For those of you worried about this, and that should be everybody tuning in, be sure to check with my reading for the year, or as my wife is calling it, the code of the year, for how we're going to cope with these kinds of problems. There's a roadmap, there's instructions, there's everything else, as well as making our everyday life quite livable and quite enjoyable. That's a couple of weeks in the future, at which point I'll be done, with the fine writing of it, and we'll see where we go. But don't get discouraged and don't get frightened to death, because it is a battle that we will win. So, as so many others have been. In the meantime, nicely enough, we are dealing with maybe our 9th or 10th straight array. But before I jump to that, let me simply say that the do for the week is a wandering Meiji. A wandering Meiji is when you're on path, an observation that if you use your head, if you use all your skills, if you use what you have at your command, that the blockages or the difficulties that you have been facing will begin to evaporate. That's on both the temporal as well as on the emotional, spiritual side, and that's quite an alluring offer. So that's the Odu. And when asked whether or not it was on path or off path, I got an Oyaku Hirosu for on path. Oyaku suggesting that there is great ancestral support for us here, taking us out of that everyday, I want mine, I want it now, I want, whatever, and having a broader term outlook, a long-term outlook in what makes us happy and what makes us well, etc., etc. So for those of you, by the way, who do not practice ancestor worship or who do it very sporadically, I would strongly suggest that you begin to establish that connection with your ancestors. It's a compendium of knowledge, of opportunities, of insights that you can get and improve your life. And there's also a very good feeling that you get in here. And remember that there are two different aspects. There's one is your primary ancestor, and your primary ancestor is that who you were born with up here in your Ori, and who's with you 24/7 until you depart, and then he returns. And our ancestors in general. And we're never quite sure which takes precedent, but basically most of our work is going to be done with our primary ancestor, and others types of our work is going to be done with ancestors in general. So, in looking for the goal and for the support here, it was indeed about our ancestors. And it was about changing our life in ways that might not be comfortable. And that's why the Odoo was what it was, but will be very worthwhile and very comfortable once we do it. So this one, by the way, goes to our ancestors in general, which means that it is more significant in a way than the everyday support from our primary ancestor. Before you think I'm crazy, give it a try. It really is a wondrous way for you to get help and get knowledge. The bow is oil. And what you do is you take a glass of clear water, set it there, light a white candle, preferably my, way of thinking, a tea candle. But at this point, I have tea candles which burn for, like 14 hours a day. And then take some oil. It can be any kind of oil you want. I prefer olive oil. It's clean. It doesn't ruin my clothes if I happen to spill it. So, it's very advantageous. Place it in a small dish in front of your ancestor altar or in front of whatever's, some you use for your ancestors, and pray to them. Probably the first time seriously in a long time since you've done it. Maybe not. Maybe that's the reason we're arrayed for this tremendous, length of time. But pray for them for the understanding, for the insight, for the courage, for the actions which will make things happen in the way they were supposed to happen, not in the way that perhaps we had wanted them to happen. Candles lit, oil is offered, cool water is there, and that you have the intent, if you send your prayers first, all will be well. Until next week, and until my reading for the year is published, love and blessings.